You're listening to episode 135 of the SBP podcast, Mobile Filmmaking, and I'm your host, Susie Botello. Hey, before we get started, I have an announcement to make. We've just, confirmed, again, I have to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Film Convert. I don't know if you realize this or not, but ever since 2017, nonstop, they've been sponsoring the festival with their software awards. And so I wanted to thank them specially. And I wanted to mention, I wanted to read to you, and I actually will. Let me just do that. Their mission statement. It's pretty awesome. Film Convert strives to give power back to the filmmaker by taking away the stress from any color correction or grading tasks. You can color with confidence using the powerful, easy-to-use color grading tools and achieve the look that you've always dreamed of. And that, in a nutshell, is their mission. And it's why they're so powerful and they're so loved by all filmmakers. I'm not talking about just smartphone filmmakers. And they were here before we found them. So listen, Film Convert, thank you so much for sponsoring the film festival for so many years. We really, really do appreciate it. And if you're listening, go and check out what they do because they're pretty awesome. And for them to sponsor a film festival here in San Diego, it means a lot to us because that way we can, give away some pretty awesome awards to the winners of the film festival. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out to Dude Vader for leading our new sponsors, the Science Fiction Coalition. If you guys are listening, woohoo! We are looking forward to you on Sunday, April 30th, because that's the big day of the award ceremony and the red carpet. And guys, these guys do like Hollywood red carpets. This is a real treat. And they're a huge group. And you name any superhero, and that's them. So they're going to escort you on the red carpet. And you are welcome to come on board, come to San Diego, enjoy the film festival, and walk the red carpet with these guys. And I'm not just talking about the filmmakers, okay? All the contenders for every one of our competitions, from the feature films, short films, the Rookie Awards, the Smartphone Photo Contest, the Screenplay Contest, all of you get to walk the red carpet escorted by superheroes, which is pretty awesome. So, and if you want to bring your own cosplay, go for it. We're down. All right. Now, I'm going to go right into, you know what I should do though, really quick? I should let you know that we made an announcement today, and we finally listed on our new International Mobile Film Festival.com website is a listing of every single judge for all the panels for each competition. And I personally want to thank these guys for volunteering to do this tough work. They're on their own on this. I have no influence on them. No one on our team has any influence in them. So just know, and they're not allowed to talk to each other or anything. It's individuals. Jennifer Zhang, thanks for coming back this year. Caroline Spence, thank you for being a judge for the first time. Errol Trotman Airwood, also, I thank you for coming back. Also, Ryan McDonald and our very own, you know this guy. If you've been watching The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, you know where I'm going? Jed Brophy. Jed, you're so awesome. Thanks for coming back to judge the short films. And Shola Ajayi, thank you for coming back as well. Philip Pugh, you've got a really good experience for the first time as a judge. And so I thank you very much. Ross Perkins, thank you for coming back. And also Ant Pruitt. He is the host of the Twit TV podcast, Hands On Photography. So thank you for coming back. And by the way, he is actually the judge not only for the short film competition, but also for the smartphone photo contest. He's one of the people that inspired it. And also, another one who inspired me to create this contest is Scott Bourne. And so he's another judge, the first time ever. And we're really grateful to you, Scott. Thank you for coming on board. And also Brandy McDonald, who is a screenplay judge for that contest, along with the very famous, I consider him famous, Stephen Palmer Peterson. And so that's it. I don't want to take up a lot of time giving a bunch of shout outs because I know what you're here for today. You're here to listen to our guests who are coming back, and we're going to talk about some pretty awesome things, including how to build that family with your crew. We're going to touch on a bunch of topics and why you want to create a family from your crew, which is a very, very, well, I have experience with that. The filmmaking experience that I have has included what I consider my family as well. So we're going to talk to Stephanie Pham and Joey Min of the art school Dropouts. Hey, Joey and Stephanie. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, we're
good. Thanks for having us back.
You're very welcome. You guys had a long day doing some Fight Club sequences.
Yeah, and and upkeep, basically paperwork.
Yeah.
The boring side of things.
Yeah, you don't have any paper fights.
No.
Paper cut fights. Just to rehash our listeners, Joey and Stephanie were guests this summer. I think it was like around June when we last spoke. And they actually filmed and proved that you can do some really cool stuff with your smartphone. Not that you don't know that, but we're talking like live action filmmaking. Why don't you share just to touch bases on that, because that's not what we're really here to talk about, but we have to mention that because you have to know how we met. And it's through that process of filmmaking that they did that we met. And also they do a lot of other stuff, a lot of videos with live action and stuff, but they don't film everything with an iPhone. But tell us a little bit about that one film.
Joey?
Yeah, so basically we have a couple of stuntmen in our group, and one of them has been asking if about an idea doing Zorro, about 2 years ago. And in the advent of COVID, we figured we would do it, but definitely not in the way that not like full budget where we would have locations and stuff like that, because we're up in the northeast coast of United States, so it's kind of hard to find the Spanish style, both like houses and ranch houses like that to do like something that's really like Zorro inspired, right? So what we did, we thought it would be funny to just do it with hobby horses and foam swords that we got at Walmart and the $5 store, and we have costumes, and we did this a mini web series, which is two videos that are about under 10 minutes long, about an adventure that Zorro would possibly have back in back in the day. So we did that, and we shot it all on our phone, and we put it on. You basically it's just what iPhone do we use? I think it's an iPhone 11, and just did that, and it looks, it was fun. We put, like, I edited it, put the sound effects on there, and and that's kind of how we met Susie here.
The sound effects are awesome. They're just like so cool. You guys, the way that you did it, and also, I would hate to be around Joey with a real sword. Because he's like the master.
Oh God.
Like the Jackie Chan type of iPhone filmmaking.
I guess you could call it that. Definitely, our style is very much harkens to that 90s style of filmmaking, right? And
It's amazing. Well, one of the things why I like your sound effects and everything is it's because of that. Because you put that into it, and you're so funny. Like, you do all these videos like every day, right? I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do it, and we don't need to give all your secrets away either. So these guys every day are out there making films, and they're so funny. Like, you're just laughing your head off just based on the comedy itself with the action. Explain, I mean, I know a little bit about where that comes from in the genre that you're using, but explain that to our users because I think they'll find it amusing.
Steph, do you want to do that, or do you want me to answer that too?
Yeah, you could do it. You're the creative head, you know what I mean?
Basically, it harkens back towards kind of the physical comedy of like Buster Keaton, or Jackie Chan. Obviously Jackie Chan for the martial arts, but like Buster Keaton, like the old silent films where it's more about the aestheticism of the physical comedy, and with the Zorro thing, we did that with I guess the vaudevillian, the golden era of Hollywood filmmaking. So that's when people were just doing like the sword fights and the fencing and the swashbuckling that you don't really see anymore. It's like swashbuckling is kind of that like, I guess it would be an adventure type of genre, like an adventure film, like that you don't see anymore, I guess.
It's true.
Right. And we kind of like our comedy or our action is really kind of, we're trying to modernize that style of cinema. So instead, like as we would call it, fight scenes or fight choreography is nonverbal dialogue in terms of filmmaking. So we still try to put the story inside the choreography, so it's not just people punching and kicking. There is like the three act Shakespearean style that we do in most of our fight scenes. So there is a clear story that I hope that we can show to the people when we do our action scenes.
Now, let's tell everybody a little bit, and let's start with poor Stephanie, who's just sitting there in the background.
Oh, no, I'm perfectly fine. Joey's like I know the creative genius.
And by the way, you guys, if you ever hear a dog barking, that's me in the background. No, that's, what's your puppy's name?
So there's two of them. There's Lady and there's Zumi.
Aww.
They're both rescues.
They got the cutest bark, too.
Yeah, for now, until like they get a little too crazy, and then I'm like, oh no.
Oh, that's okay. We're all in this entertainment business. We know crazy.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about you, and then Joey, you chime in as well after. Okay. Let Stephanie lead on this one.
All right. Hi guys. My name is Stephanie Pham. I am an actress, model, and obviously I work with Art School Dropouts. I am actually like the business end of things when it comes to Art School Dropouts. So I handle like pretty much the boring stuff. Joey has all the fun stuff. He's way more creative. What?
But you're also a lot in front of the camera, and you're also his pun.
I mean, I guess. But I look cool because Joey makes me look cool. That's really it. But besides that, is just, I handle like a lot of the business side of things. I feel like a lot of times when you have someone who is like so creative, they need to have like someone who's focused on the business boring end of things. And I feel like that's something that's missing for a lot of like filmmakers.
A lot of
wow.
I know it's hard to like definitely just trying to make things work as a creative when it's especially now during the I guess the internet algorithm based media. I need somebody that actually knows how to work with the algorithm, kind of. Right? That's the hard part for being a creative.
Yeah.
There is a lot of pressure on filmmakers right now. Like they have to be web designers, they
Yeah.
have to be YouTubers,
do
they have to be
everything.
They have to be every.
filmmakers, they have to be entrepreneurs. I mean, it really is hard.
Yeah, and to kind of like have that type of like thinking, it's like, okay, one moment you have to be like creative, the other time like you can't be. It's really hard because it's this very two conflicting ideals. Because
Yeah.
I may say something
It's
that
taking a bite
yeah.
off the apple in a way. Each one of those things takes away a little piece of what could really be even more effective if it was whole, which is the creativity, right?
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think Joey and I we work well. We butt heads a lot, but we work well.
Oh yeah.
Well, you guys really have a great dynamic, at least from what I can see on camera and what I've experienced off camera or in audio. Like
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Joey, let's talk a little bit about. Yeah, go ahead.
She's definitely my better half.
Aw, you guys are so kind to each other.
Has to be. It's
All
like
right,
a
Joey.
family.
It is a family. We're gonna go into that. Well, Joey, why don't you just share a little bit, because you're also a director.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I don't know where we're going with this.
All of a sudden, they got really serious. Yes, ma'am. I'm a director too. Yeah, talk a little bit about where that experience came from and how you guys joined together to make this really cool dynamic for the art school dropouts.
Okay, so I actually during high school I've always wanted to tell story. I think my the reason why I wanted to get into filmmaking was because I've been a martial artist my entire life since I was a kid, and I definitely also like grew up on Jackie Chan and like Lau Kar Long and a lot of Hong Kong style martial art films. And I think during high school that's like during 2000s, and that's when digital cameras started coming up, right? And filmmaking became accessible to the masses, really, right? And I knew what I wanted to do was like, film fight scenes and whatnot. But I think the love of telling stories was always, has always been there. And then, so after a while, kind of, worked on that. And now many decades later, I met Steph through the original configuration of this team of art school dropouts. And she happened to be a schoolmate of one of my friends, and he introduced me to her because she was doing she did martial arts as well, and we're like, yeah, that'd be cool to work with this girl. But during that time, I kind of had this bad breakup with this girl I was dating, and I'm a creative, so I wrote a script and I needed to get that out of my heart to get like closure.
Yeah.
So I met Steph, and I wanted to so we set up a meeting to meet Steph, but the night before I was supposed to meet Steph, like drama erupted with my ex, and then I was in turmoil, and I met her the next day with with the whole group of art school dropouts, and she was so bubbly, and I at that point, I just hated women at that point, right? And she was so bubbly, and I didn't want to talk to her, and everything. But like that was funny. And I think at the end of the night, she said, like, I don't know, she was saying something. She made a joke, but I took it the wrong way, and I was just really mad at her. But we went to this bubble tea place, and there's like a group of people that wanted, I don't know, they were just causing problems, and they were trying to pick a fight. And I was already up to my limit there, and I was like, whatever, I'll fight these people, right? Because I was so angry. And I looked back, and none of my group was backing me up, but Steph was already like loosening up, and she was taking off her ears, like she was ready to fight. And that's when like her eyes met mine, and we're like, yo, did we become best friends?
Aww.
And that is the start. That is the start. And finally,
you're like, man, any woman that has my back during a tea room fight scene.
Right. And then I casted her for that video, and that was like on our video on our channel. It's called like um wait, Mr. Right or something. I forgot. I forgot the name of the
Oh
video.
my
But
gosh. Yeah.
yeah, it was been a long time. But like that was my closure from that ex, and so yeah, that's it. That was my. I used stuff
That's
to
so
make her
funny.
jealous, basically. So
And
it's
then
perfect.
we've just basically have been best friends ever since.
Yeah.
That is so fun. So when you guys listen, when you guys, meaning our listeners, when you guys watch their videos, you're just gonna love them because you're just gonna want to hop on a plane or say, hey, where you guys live? Because I want to play too. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what you guys are doing, and this is the thing that I think smartphone videos, right, do for people, the cameras, is that they allow you to not be so serious, right?
Mhm.
That with the technical part. I mean, obviously, you have to be serious to a point, especially depending on the film that you're making. But this allows you, it gives you the freedom to have fun. Like, hey, just record and just play around and have some fun. And why not, right? Because people enjoy that. People need that.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
think it's also good practice, right? Like if we're not working with Alexis or something like that, right? We're just focusing on the phone, and you learn your shot progression, you learn your shot composition, even just basic like your white balance and in aperture, like that's like simple things that every camera has, right? And as long
Right.
as I figured you know how to, in the end, the technical aspects is supposed to elevate your directing style, right? Like the
Right.
shots could be as weird as possible, but if you can tell a story with it, I mean, yeah, right.
That's the whole point. That's your motive for
Sure.
doing a tweak here and a tweak there, basically.
Right.
I equate that to doing graphic. Who does the graphics for you guys? Stephanie or you do?
Joey.
I am all of the
He's
I'm all of the
literally
creative
all the
parts.
creative.
I just got your Halloween email earlier today.
Oh, I did that.
Oh, you did
Oh,
that?
yeah, she did that.
You did the graphics for that?
Yeah.
Pretty awesome,
Oh, thank
guys.
you.
Like, yeah, and but I equate it to that. Like, you go into Photoshop or whatever, and you have something in mind. You have a goal, right?
Mhm.
I need to create this. You may not know exactly what it's going to look like, but you have certain elements that you want to include in it. And then everything else just sort of forms itself around it, depending on how you manage the tools that you have, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like that with the smartphone filmmaking, except for it's even simpler to manage those tools. So it makes it simpler. I feel like I'm going to get weird with this, but there is a subconscious part of filmmaking that takes place when you're behind the camera, where if you overthink it, you kind of might ruin the shot
Yeah.
when it comes to the cinematography part, right?
Yeah.
It's I think I know what you're talking about too, because I think in the beginning when we were just becoming a group, uh I guess like I really disliked pre-production simply because I felt like I think I finally understood it, where filming something for the first time, I feel like it's that the essence of creation when you're in it at the
Yeah.
moment, and it feels good. But also
Yeah.
the problem is with that is that filming on the spot when you haven't practiced your craft doesn't mean that you have the tools refined, right?
Right.
So yeah, and that's why I think people should film with their phones, like practice, but make sure that whatever you're filming, you're practicing could scale up, because I'm sure whatever we film for that no budget Zora that we call it, like the things that we film on our phone, we could we could get like a higher, like scale up and grab like a whole crew and all of the lights, all of the cameras, and we would just take exactly the same shots because it would work as a storyboard, and we would make the shots better, and we didn't lose any you know like the shots itself still works, right?
Well, and that's the thing about, being able to grab your smartphone and practice, because it's like it's like when you're going by intuition, even your intuition is driven by something, and it's usually driven by experiences
Yes.
that you've had, and even that in itself. So way back ago, right, you were doing this and you were practicing this and you were learning this stuff, and then you fast forward to today, you could just grab this thing and do it, and intuitionally and subconsciously it all comes right back. You know what you're doing even though you don't know that you know what you're doing.
Yes.
And that way the other part of your mind, your conscious mind, can concentrate on the other aspect. And I think that's part of what makes really good filmmakers.
Yeah, actually, I think you hit that right on the head. And I believe it's like, it's not about the technical knowledge. It's not about being the best director of photography or cinematographer. I think the soul of the filmmaker is being able to tell your story, right? And sometimes I almost even like what you're saying, you know, like it's the intuition of telling the right shots to complete a narrative. You know, I feel like script writing is more important than, you know, than the technical knowledge of how to operate a camera, honestly. If you want to be a filmmaker, that's what I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think we're both thinking. Even though it's Friday night, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
We've had a week's experience.
Oh yeah.
It's been a tough week. I don't know about you guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's like, you know, remember that show Sliders?
Yes.
Gosh.
Love it.
Man, I love that show so much. That show Sliders, this is where we're in now. We've somehow jumped through and we're like in this other dimension, but we don't really know it, because what happened was we woke up there. See, we thought we were going to sleep here, like Bill Murray in the, oh man, the Hog movie, the Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Like, let's make a mix up of, you know, Sliders and Groundhog Day, right? All right, that brings me to something else. Not literally, but because of what Stephanie was talking about before, and what I want to really, really discuss in this episode of our podcast, now that we're like almost halfway through it, is no, we're not. Is the how you turn your film crew into your family. How do you do that?
I think it's just something simple as just take care of your people, guys. Like,
That's it.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Say goodbye. No, I'm
it's
just
like
kidding.
really simple, but like I'm
Right.
sure everyone has worked, at least everyone that has like listened to this podcast has worked on a film production that, you know, it's just any other production. There's nothing more to it. Like those people that work together, they probably don't hang out outside of work. But it's just, you know, I feel like with us, one of the ways that we show appreciation is that Crafty's for cheap. We have a whole show where Joey, he is like the chef, and he basically shows you guys like some of the crafties that he makes for our cast and crew, and he like cooks for them. I think cooking for your entire group it's just wholesome, and it's nice because there's like effort into it, and it's something very simple, but I think it's very effective. And I mean, we've seen I guess the reactions from a lot of people that have worked with us. It's like, hey, yeah, come work with us, we'll feed you, we'll take care of you, and like they enjoy the food that Joey makes. He's really good at cooking, so
I know. I'm like ready to go buy a ticket and get over there. Oh my God.
Be part of our film, so I'll
yeah.
Right? Jeez.
Like,
well, you know,
yeah.
just so some of our listeners have never worked on a film set. So it's actually perfect for them to know this, because going in blind, you've already got a lot to learn. But this is one thing. When I was in college and I was studying this stuff, I was already working in video and all that stuff. And I came in one day into our cinematography class, actually, and we were doing our production that day. It was like a big deal. Each group had their own thing, and then I came on this day, and I brought all kinds of food. So everybody was like, "Wow, look at that! She's bringing food and all this stuff. Wow, you're really special." And my instructor at the time, Mr. Sneed, rest in peace. I just found out this last week that he passed away. Big supporter of our film festival. But he said, well, hey, you know what she's doing? That's a producer. Producers always feed the crew. And you'll always know a good producer when they feed their crew. So Joey, Mr. Sneed would say, you rock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, but one of the things about this is, I you know, he comes to mind a lot lately. One of the things I was remembering about, you know, aside from college and all this stuff is the people, the crew that we built, that we worked with, that I considered family. We considered each other family. It's not that we lived close by enough to each other, you know, but we would reunite. Literally, it felt like, I remember joking around one day, say, we're only going to make a film so that we can have an excuse to get together and have fun, right? and that was, it's what it really seemed like, you know? And so one of the ways that you can do that, that you guys do, is through feeding your crew. And there's something else that happens around food, which is, I think you're touching on, is, you know, when families have birthdays and they're celebrating and they're always saying, okay, where are we going out to, right, for dinner, right, or lunch? And so these things happen around food and meals and things like that. So tell us a little more about how you accomplish that, because when you're saying Joey is cooking for the crew, I'm thinking about it as an AD and thinking about the clock. Like, how does that work, Joey?
I mean, obviously, it's, you know, sometimes Steph or sometimes, like, you know, but yeah, like sometimes Steph like to be my sous chef, you know, and
it really depends on like the day. So typically for like on-set productions, if we're like not at a house or anything like that, we basically prepare food like the day before, just to like have on set for people to eat. And then after the shoots, just because of like the pandemic and just trying to be COVID safe, a lot of times for our productions, we like to rent out an Airbnb and have everyone stay with us just to ensure that everyone is COVID safe. And then we like feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So
that's
like
really cool.
Literally, Joey is just behind a counter and he's like whipping up some like chicken sandwiches. I like just made to order. It's like, oh, you guys want another one? All right, cool. And he'll just like make another one for you guys.
He's over there with his sword going.
Yeah, basically, yes.
That's pretty awesome.
But we do make
so what are things that you, what are some of the ingredients and preparation things that you would advise people? Because we were talking in our last show, I feel like we're doing a Friday Night Live. The last time we were talking about certain things, like you don't want to give people turkey, right?
Yeah.
Because of the, what is it called? Tryptophan?
Yes.
Yeah. And don't want to do that because that'll put people to sleep.
Or like heavy carbs in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That puts them to sleep, you know.
Like I know.
So give everybody
thing.
give everyone who's listening, you know, you guys pull out your notepads, start taking notes. So some of the things that are really effective.
Wait, so the thing is that what we do is that, you know, we already create usually a menu for, like, say if our production lasts for a week and we know how many people that we have, we cater to that type of I guess casting crew at that point. So
and vegans,
vegans.
So,
you know.
What we normally do is like we'll send out like a form, like a Google form, for people to complete. Let us know of any like dietary restrictions, any allergies, or anything of the sort. And then Joey basically like he puts together a menu. He and I talk about it to see if it's like within the budget. and then we just go grocery shopping and we just
I
buy what we
can't eat
need.
anything but lobster.
Let's not hire Susie.
Yeah, I know. It's
Right?
I think we'll have to pass.
Yeah, we have to.
Right? Sorry, I couldn't help that one.
But yeah, no, because like definitely, besides we obviously, we hire people, so it's not like we don't pay them, but at the same time, food is a very good thing to use to raise the morale of people, right, in the middle of the day. So there is, our, depending on how big our productions are, sometimes our crafties borderlines on like catering, but usually on set when we're there, one of the things that we actually do is like spam musubis. It's a like a big thing in Hawaii, or like a cultural food in Hawaii, and we, it's spam and rice and seaweed wrap. So it's hefty, but it's the right amount of protein and carbs that keeps people going, right? And sometimes it's just all you need. It's a finger food, or yeah, I make a sandwich, or like a chicken sandwich in the middle of the day. That's usually a good blend of, like, veggies and carbs and meats, and it's.
What about things for like during the like you guys do provide red vines, right?
Nope.
So, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You guys don't provide the red vines?
Nope. So it depends. Well, we do ask the cast and crew, like, oh, what kind of snacks do you guys want?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, the last production we did, people were inhaling gushers and like avoiding soda and drinking like the seltzer water, but inhaling gushers. And I was like, I don't understand, but that's what they had wanted, and we're like, all right, well, we'll just pick some up for you guys. So yeah, we do have snacks for people as well.
Well, those are treats.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have water. This is what I've learned. You gotta have water. You gotta have red vines, and and usually people have nuts of some sort for the protein.
Well,
also,
then again,
hand sanitizer, guys. Please.
Yeah.
Big bottle of hand sanitizer right in front of, like,
one at each end and one in the middle.
And plus, we usually don't have like 16-hour days. Like, we literally keep our shoot days short.
Yeah.
It's just so, because we don't want to burn people out, right?
Yeah.
So whatever.
You guys are making a feature film right now, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
So this is actually a good time to bring this up. So let's say that you're making a list of must-haves for your craft services, right? Like, let's say, I mean, I don't know what schedule you guys have. Now, I've worked on film sets where, they end at, 6 p.m. one day, but then they start at, 5 a.m. the next day. And sometimes you start at 6 p.m. and then you end at like 4 in the morning or something. It's just crazy. And each one of those takes some adjusting. Like, I remember having breakfast at 6 in the afternoon, in the evening. How do you guys work that out?
Well, for our feature, fortunately, this one, it is most of it is shot in VR. So we get to just work at, like, Joey's house. But typically, it really depends on the production and then where we are.
We definitely do not fit the idea of grinding our film. Like, we don't we never ask for anything ridiculous out of people. We're never gonna have like 12 or 14 or 16-hour days. That's ridiculous, right? Like, I mean, I know what level we are. We're just indie, right? We're not asking like Hollywood, grind times.
Plus, it's just the two of us, so we have to keep that in mind as well, because we'll burn out before anyone else will.
Right. So our schedules for most productions, it is very doable for a lot of people, right? So, and obviously, like, say, and if I think it also helps that we are very meticulous in terms of scheduling what we need. So if we need like night shots, like, we'll probably get those night shots, so everybody would be on the same, like, sleep schedule, so we don't mess anybody up, right?
Yeah.
And we really try to go out of our way to make it easier on the cast and crew, and so that's why it's a lot of planning, and a lot of that falls on Steph and I, but I think to get
I think it also has to do with the location, right? Because
yes,
like a lot of the, like if it's local, right?
yes,
And you've got your cast and your crew, right?
Mhm.
And they've only got a week to do it, and you've got a feature film,
Mhm.
that's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But if you can do a feature film in 2 to 3 weeks, right?
Mhm.
For the most part, and not work 16-hour days. I mean, to be honest, I think anything over 12 hours really is kind of ridiculous
Oh yeah,
for anybody. And to work 6 and 7 days a week is also ridiculous.
right.
Because you're going to feel it later when you start looking at things, and then accidents start to happen
Yes.
as well.
You start to
Exactly.
forget
You know?
things.
So that on that sense, but if people are coming together somewhere where they don't live, and you've got to deal with hotel expenses and things like that, then you do want to at least cover the 12 hours, right?
Mhm.
And then things get a little more hectic, and then you have your AD going, guys, uh, especially if you're paying for certain locations for certain days that they're available. There's so much. See, I was a production coordinator in Big Bear, trying to deal with
Right.
putting out fires all day, every day.
But I think
So
that's
for me,
also,
I come from that experience.
and I think that's like an amazing skill set. I think it's just that sometimes I think that most filmmakers, and
Yeah,
especially they might not have a realistic idea of the resources that they have, and and we got to
it's
practice.
true.
Yeah, we got to practice that like at smaller projects for us to kind of have a better idea, like as we've been scaling up, where we might run into trouble. So that's why I noticed a lot of people, like this last production that we did. Like I said, we had all of our cast and crew, in Airbnb, so we know that they're not going to go out and order fruit or whatever, and might accidentally get COVID and everybody gets sick, right? So we take care
Right.
of them, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money, but it's to show the cast and crew, like, hey, we really care about your safety, and and the like longevity.
Because they're your family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you gotta take care of them. And plus, like, think of
Yeah.
it this way. Let's just say if you were to schedule like a shoot and somebody does get COVID and then it delays the production, and then anything that you had booked prior, like locations, you can't get those deposits back.
Yeah.
So
And
like you
you,
Well,
lose out
and
anyways.
just for people who aren't worried about COVID anymore for whatever reason, it's like, all right, it could be a kidney stone,
Yeah.
guys. It doesn't
It
matter.
could be
Yeah.
anything.
It's just like it could be anything,
Yeah, exactly. It could be anything, and like that's why we try to minimize the problems. And we're working with stuntmen, and we have stunts, right? So sometimes we throw them through walls, or they take a fall,
Yeah.
what we call wrecks, I guess. So
Yeah.
we wouldn't want them to be
Hurt.
yeah, if they're like if they're not sleeping enough, because we're doing like 14-hour days, then
Yeah.
we ask them, hey, you need to fall on, like, I don't know, cement, whatever. Even if they're padded up, you like, if they're not on top of their game, that they hurt themselves, that's it.
And that's their livelihoods. Like
Right.
that's it. And
Yeah, you really don't want people to start breaking bones.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you can't expect them to drive themselves all the way home after a shoot
Right.
day. Like that
Right.
just seems a little bit ridiculous.
especially
Yeah.
after having turkey for the end of the meal.
Exactly, right? Put them to sleep. And
That
like, all right,
literally
go home.
happened to me. We're the last day. It fell on the day before Thanksgiving. And so the craft services lady decided to make a Thanksgiving dinner as our last meal after a really long, we got to have this finish day.
Oh my gosh.
And so we all ate all this stuff, and then, okay, bye, drive home. And I was like,
Oh.
it's like 3 hours for me or something. And I was like, oh my God. And it was at night, it was so tough. I thought I was just going to like pull over and take a nap or something. It was crazy.
Right? Like, that's poor planning.
Yeah.
That's like-
Yeah, it
that's
was
not
bad.
good.
It was bad. It was completely, nobody realized that someone didn't lack the knowledge on that one.
Yeah. So something like that. I think I learned that a long time ago. I think I was helping a friend with his film, and I was like green back then. and he asked me to cook for everybody. So I made like this big salmon dinner and like fried rice, and they couldn't get work done because everybody just passed out, and I got railed for it the next day. Like it was my fault. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know. Yeah. So,
You're like, but everybody was so
yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Everybody just dropped. And you know,
I think
after
during the
10 hours,
production,
12 hours of working, you eat something heavy like that. Oh my God, you're
yeah,
knocked out.
keep it
You're knocked.
light during the actual like shoot day and while you're like on set.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you guys can like, for dinner, just stuff your faces and then go to sleep.
Dude, it's like in Spain, all right? They have this thing called siesta.
Yeah,
You know about this.
siesta.
Okay, so that it's not like, oh, they scheduled it. What happens is like their biggest meal of the day happens at around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So, of course, after that big meal, they're going to get sleepy. And then they do this siesta thing. And then they recover and go back to life again. They go back to school, they go back to work. And then when they're out of school and work, they've rested, that had that great big meal of the day. And then they're like up and ready to go. And they're like hitting the nightclubs on a Wednesday night at 2 a.m. I mean, they're just like, that doesn't happen in all of Spain. But when you get to like some of the bigger cities, it's very common. So that's one. Well, we covered a lot in food. So, hey, guys.
I mean, food is very
guess
easy
what?
to
You want to
talk
make a
about.
family out of your film crew, feed them. What are some other things that we actually talked about accommodations, right?
Yeah, so
I pronounced it all weird. I'm sorry.
it's okay. I mean, every production is different. It really depends on like I guess the
Your availability?
schedule, the availability, what everyone is willing to do. Like okay, so for example, the last production we did is like a really good example because it was just Joy and myself. Like we were behind camera, so we could take care of like everything else that needed to be done. We had everything already, like in pre-production. Everything was done at least like 2 weeks before we even had shot. Um, but like we had the shot list, everything was planned. We just needed to execute at that point. So I think if anything, like definitely, guys, you need to plan like very carefully. Everything goes into like pre-production. Fortunately for this one, we had about a total of 10 people, and everyone, I booked a hotel. Not a hotel. I booked an Airbnb, and we all were able to stay there. Everybody came the night before we shot, so that way everyone could sleep, wake up, eat breakfast, and then we all head out together as like a whole group.
Yeah.
And Joey and Angela and myself, we just we make the food the night before for like whatever like we had food for like on set. Then after we were done the day, because it was like a 9 to 5 shoot day, and then we'll go back home. Everybody showers, relax, do what they wanted to do, and then Joey just cooks some dinner.
Nice.
Yeah, so that way there's no like rushing, like people are like
I was relaxing while I was just listening to you.
but it's like, if there's like traffic or like any car accidents or like car breaks down or like they wake up and they're not feeling well or just anything like that, at least they could come back to the Airbnb, relax. If they want to take a nap, take a nap. If you guys want to like stay up and just like hang out and chat, we'll like all hang out and chat. But yeah, just think of it as like a big sleepover in a way.
Yeah, it's actually that's actually a really good idea, because not only that, so obviously here comes my production coordinator part or my scripty part, right? Where it's like, let's go over some of these things. You don't have to call somebody and go, oh, we can't because they already left. You know what I mean?
That is
Right.
true. Yeah, and Joey, he is like a speed editor, so he was able to help build up even more morale by like just rough cutting like what we had shot for that day.
And the actors can practice some of their things together, and they if they haven't met, except for during the time, before to do the blocking and things like that, right?
Yeah.
That they can get to know each other better, so they can work together, because there is an element of chemistry between actors and the characters that sometimes, I mean, unless somebody is like a Hollywood, awesome actor, they could just snap in and out of things. And even for them, they have to go into that mode. You know what I mean? They have to go into that zone, which is why you don't want to bother them right before they're filming a scene, But it helps that chemistry also, because, and for all of you, you get to know each other. You get to know the quirks that each other has, because we all have quirks. There's no way around that.
Yes.
And you get to know those things. And all those things in the end help your production, but they also help you with the relationship that you have with each other. And you might just say, that ended up working out so well. I'm definitely coming back. And I'm not going to ask for $500,000 to do it the next time.
Yeah. We definitely want it to be a fun experience for everyone. Just taking care of everyone, considering their safety, their time. They're already putting in like their efforts to making this a good project. So let's make it as fun as possible, enjoyable for them too. I think that's just really important.
In the long run, it's actually cheaper to take care of your people first, so they give you the best, their best performance on in front of the camera, if there's no problems, right?
And it helps with, you don't want drama behind the camera either.
Yes.
So that's another good reason to pay attention to that. I mean, you're not just hiring people for, one weekend or something like that. You are building a family. You are, when you're building your film crew, which is important that you have the same people, working together, because it really does help your production run smoother. The parts that each other can play and how well they can play them. And I'm not talking about the acting, it's really, really a great idea to think about, hey, we're building a family, because it kind of goes into the community type thing. We're working together to help each other to complete this thing together. Each one of us has a part, right, in this family, and together we can achieve this goal. And then you can see it in the end result of the movie when Joey takes his sword out and cuts up that film with the editing. What do you use for editing, Joey?
I'm a Premiere guy.
Oh, you're like the Premiere. You're a Premiere guy. And Stephanie, when you're because you say you do the administration and all this stuff, are you also the person putting together the production budget?
Yes, I handle the budget. I put together like the shot list. I schedule like everybody. Like the last shoot, we did about 40 shots per day for 3 days.
Wow.
So it was pretty hectic, but we finished on schedule, thankfully. But yeah, it's I handle like that side of the group.
I just want people to know that filmmaking is work, and a lot of times, it will show, in the end result. You may think you have a wonderful film because you're surprised at what you achieved when you had no planning involved. But that doesn't mean that everybody on the other side is going to agree with that, because they don't know what you had or didn't have. They just see the end result, and something is lacking. Something is off, There are times when someone who's got a lot of experiences can do that whole, well, I don't need to plan every single minute of this thing because I've done this so many times, and so has my crew, that we almost subconsciously can do these things. But you still got to have a shot list.
Oh my God. Definitely.
You still got to, yeah. I mean, share just a little bit of that before we end this.
So the process that we usually go about it is Joey would previs the entire project. which makes it a lot easier on my part when I have to put the shot list together because we're not shooting anything that's like unnecessary, things that we might not need. I mean, we're indie filmmakers, time is really important. So he makes the previs, he has the script and everything, and then I just throw that into a program. It's called.
Oh, you might want to share what a previs is, which is like short for pre-visual, which is.
Uh,
Oh,
so basically, yeah, I mean it's your movie before the movie. It's like it's more than a storyboard. You know, instead of because like we usually don't storyboard because it's kind of sometimes it's a lot.
It's part of the treatment, right?
Yeah. So, but you know, obviously since we're indie and you know, budget is small, I think you know a lot of those things, a lot of those mini steps in between your storyboards or your previs to you know, like we could just kind of mesh together, right? So.
yeah.
Right.
So we do that with the previs. And then with the shot list, I use an app called Shot Lister. It's really cool
Yeah.
because you could schedule the shoot day, and it'll tell you if you're like a few minutes behind, or like if you want like a certain take, you can do circle takes on it. Um, so we like using that, and because Joey is able to like put the previs together, I mean, depending on the project, it could take me between like 30 minutes to like maybe 2 hours to put a shot list together.
Yeah.
And it's nice. So if you guys are interested, we also do have a tutorial series specifically on like how we shoot fight scenes, which in the bonus section we actually show the previs alongside the finished products. So that's like really cool for those that are like interested in seeing like, oh, okay, so what did they have to work with to make the final video? And it acts as like a great guideline.
I would totally recommend to do that, guys, because you'll save yourself a lot of time, you know, by using this fun couple of people here that will show you, you know, all these steps that you know they're experienced and they churn stuff out in a way that's just unbelievable. And so what is the so art school dropouts
Yeah.
art film dropouts there's a new one. So art school dropouts, but it's asdofightscenes.com, right?
Yes. ASDO.
Look at
fight
me, I'm all
scenes.
prepared.
Yeah, so prepared.
I finally looked at it the one time that I looked at my notes. So we're gonna do this. In my last episode, we did this little game, and I like to play this game because we're talking about your family, right? Your crew.
Mhm.
We used to do this a long time ago. I had so much fun this in the last episode that I thought maybe I should do this with you guys, since you probably would want to give a lot of shout outs to a lot of people. But my phone is always close enough. I've got a timer.
Wait.
I think you know where I'm going to go with this. And so I thought I'd give you guys, here's what I'll do. I'll give you and Joey, let's do this for 15 seconds, a little longer because it's two of you.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is what we're going to do. This totally, I'm putting you on the spot, guys. So
I got really nervous.
let's say that for 15 seconds we'll start with Stephanie gives a shout out, and then Joey gives another shout out, and we'll go back and forth like that until the timer goes off. So
All right.
are you guys
Okay,
ready
so
for
we'll
this?
just basically like name drop. Is that what it's going
Yeah.
on?
It's basically, yep, you're name dropping, name shout outs to people that are part of your family. Now this is the thing, guys. Obviously, I just put your friends. If you're listening to this and you're part of the family, part of the crew, and you feel like, oh my God, they didn't mention me, they hate me. No, they're put on the spot. They have 15 seconds to do it. You can't blame them. You can blame me. So you can fly me out there to eat their food, and then you can blame me. So, all right. So, are you guys ready? And I'll say action, okay?
Okay.
Who goes first?
I go first.
Stephanie.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Stephanie's like, you go first.
No, I'm ready.
All right. Ready, set, action.
AJ Kick 101, Angela Jordan.
Kageyami,
Sean from Food for Thought.
Hector Soria,
Lee from Film Combat Syndicate.
Andrew Kim,
I was
Brian
gonna say
Tuttle.
Sifu Cuddle.
There we go.
Stop it. Don't cheat. All right. That's pretty awesome. And also, two more. What were your dog's name again?
Zumi and Lady.
There you go. So, hey, I'm glad that you guys were on. Where can people follow you?
Anything Art School Dropouts, basically. artschooldropouts.com. We have a Patreon page. We are also fiscally sponsored with Fractured Atlas, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a merch store. Just head over to Art School Dropouts, sign up for our mailing list, and yeah.
Please like,
Awesome.
comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Most definitely. All right. Well, thank you again for coming back to our show. And listen, listeners, go to susiebotello.substack.com, because after this publishes, I'm going to write a little thing there, and we can have a little discussion there about some of the things that they mentioned. If they can come, great. But if not, I'll try and answer your questions regarding food, building your family, all the things that we discussed. It would be fun. It should be great. If you go to Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, you'll probably miss it. But here, it'll be a fun discussion. It'll be better. All right. Say goodbye to our listeners.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.